Hi guys, today I'm going to teach you how to make a crochet fox. So here is what we will need for it. You're going to need orange, black, and white yarn. I am using size 4 medium for all of them. Then I am using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You can use up to a 6.5. I've used that before. You can use smaller. I just wouldn't go above a 6.5. Then you will need some safety eyes or some buttons. I've used both. I have a larger safety eye for the nose and then 2 smaller ones for the eyes. Then you will also need some scissors and a yarn needle. All right, let's get started. Sorry, one more thing. You'll need some polyfill. Now we can get started. So we're going to do a slip knot, and what you're going to do is make a circle. You're going to make sure that the yarn that is connected to the ball of yarn is on the top. Then you're going to bring it underneath and through. Right, and we are going to chain 2. Then in that first chain spot, we are going to do 4 single crochets. So you're going to put your hook in, yarn over, out, yarn over, pull through both. There's 1, in, around, out, around through 2. There's 2, in, around, out, around through 2. There's 3, and one more time, around through 2. Then we are going to do a slip stitch into that very first spot that we did a single crochet to make a circle. So you're going to put your hook in where you can see those 2 V's, which is a little hard to see because it's black. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through both spots. So now we have a little circle. You can pull on that tail to tighten it. We're going to pull our yarn up and cut off a tail because we're going to change colors. And there are many different ways to change colors, but this is how I like to do it. So we're going to pull that yarn all the way through. We're going to grab our next color, which is the orange. We're going to make another slip knot. So in a circle, yarn connected to the ball is on top, go under and pull through. And we are going to put this yarn, or put our hook in the second one from this tail. So not in the V where the tail's coming out of, but the one right behind it. I just think this makes it a little more secure. We're going to do a slip stitch, so yarn over and pull it through. Now we are going to do a pattern of single crochet 1 and then 2 single crochets in the next. We're going to count this as 1, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into this next spot. So yarn over, pull through 2, in, yarn over, and that's into the same spot. We're going to go into the same spot, yarn over, and pull through 2. And I like to bring these tails around with me as I work, just kind of weave them in as I go. Now we're going to do just single crochet 1 into the next spot. So we go in, around, out, around, through 2. So there's our single crochet 1. Now we're going to do single crochet 2 into the next spot. So go in, around, out, around through 2, into that very same spot, in, around, out, around through 2. Now our single crochet 1, and we have reached back where we started, so we are going to just do a slip knot into that first stitch. this is what we're looking like so far. You might want to grab a stitch marker. I forgot to mention that. I just use bobby pins, so I'm gonna go grab one. We're going to put our stitch marker right in that last V that we can see that we worked. And our next pattern that we're going to do around is 2 single crochets and then 2 single crochets into the next one. So into the third one, we're gonna do an increase. So we have our slip stitch spot. We're gonna go into the next one, do 1 single crochet, go into our next spot, do another single crochet, and then into our third spot we're going to do 2 single crochets. So do 1 and then another one in that same spot. We're going to do that again. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and in that third spot where our stitch marker is, we're going to take it out and we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2, and then I'm just going to do a slip stitch to join the whole round into that next V. Alright, and here is what we have so far. One little ear is done. So we are going to cut off this tail and we're going to do that whole pattern again. So rewind the video and let's redo this pattern, but at the end, do not cut off the tail. We're going to leave it. We are at a point where we have our 2. I'm going to connect it in the second stitch back, so not the one that the tail's coming out, the one right before. And I'm just going to put my hook in there. One thing I did forget to mention is after we are done with our ears, you're actually going to want to turn them right side out. If you are weaving the tail in as you go and it's kind of dangling on the bottom, the tails are going to need to be on the inside. So we're gonna need to turn that. And you can tell if it's the right side because the stitch will look a little more defined. If you turn it on the other side, it's gonna look more messy, more smooth, not as defined. So just make sure that you turn those ears inside out before you connect them. You want the side that is the good side without all the tails sticking out to be facing up towards you, and then you are crocheting around. And we're going to do a slip stitch. So wrap around, pull through 2. Now we have all of these other tails kind of hanging off, and we're going to cut those off so that they're not confusing us. So you can just cut them as short as you'd like. I cut them pretty short. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to single crochet around and it will build our body part. So we have where we slip stitched. I'm going to do 1 single crochet and then I'm going to put our stitch marker in. And we're just going to keep single crocheting around. As we come around to this other side, it's a little hard to see where the V's are, but I'm just gonna go into the very middle here, do a single crochet just to more securely connect the ears. We've made it back around where our stitch marker is. I'm just going to take that out, do a couple single crochets and then put it back in. And we're just going to keep going around. I just kind of guess based on how long I want the body, but I will put up on the screen how many rounds I end up doing. And we'll just keep working on it and get the body a little longer. After doing round 4, we are going to move our stitch marker so it is at one of the sides, not in the middle anymore. Then you're going to single crochet to meet that stitch marker, and that is going to count as round 5. Alright, so we are just going to do a voiceover for the remainder of this. For the snout part, I am just making my slip knot and then I am chaining 4. And we're going to join that into a circle. Then we're going to do 6 single crochets into the center of the circle. And I am joining that with a slip stitch at the end. We're going to leave a long tail for sewing, and then that other shorter tail, just pull on it a little to tighten it up, and then we're going to cut that off. And we're going to add our safety eye, the larger one, for the nose. You can put this in the snout part, or you can also put it in to the fox. Then we're going to sew the snout onto the fox, and the way that I do this is I only put my needle through part of the orange body and then into one of the V's, so the closest one to the body. I'm only going to put it into that one loop. I've just found that this makes it look a little more defined. If you put it through both loops, it can just look a little squished. Then we are just going to stuff the fox. And here is how we are going to sew it up. So I'm going to take my yarn needle and I am only putting it into those inside loops. So we're only working in one loop, and it's both of the inside ones, and we're just going to do a little zigzag pattern going back and forth. You're welcome to put it in both loops, but this is just how I like to do it. When we reach the end, we are just going to put that yarn into the stuffing and then out somewhere in the middle of the body. And if you give it a little tug while you clip it off, it will hide that end and you won't have a problem with it coming out. Now we have our body, so we are going to work on the legs. So you're going to do this 4 different times. We're just doing chain 10, then we're going to go back and we're going to just do a single crochet into each chain. And make sure to leave a long tail for sewing. We're going to do this 3 more times so that you have 2 arms and 2 legs. To connect our legs, you're going to find which side is the good side, so it will be the more defined side. You're going to put it facing inwards, so the bad side will be facing out. And you're just going to do a little whip stitch to connect the leg. We want to do it this way so that the seam is showing on that back side. And then we're going to do the same thing we did before, put our yarn needle into the middle and clip it off. For the arms, I just decide where I want my first arm and I'm doing a whip stitch. Then you just want to make sure you do your other arm level. So I will just follow that same row across. Make sure I'm doing my whip stitch on the same row. And here's our little fox. I realized when I was filming this that I didn't put a tail, so I am putting up the pattern for the tail on the screen. You're welcome to do it. You don't have to. I think it looks good either way. But thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe.